See, that's what Daniel was saying at the end of his life. But Daniel chapter 12, verse 10, he say, no, I'm going to start at verse 9, Daniel 12 and 9. It said, he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up. See, what closed up mean? That means you ain't going to open this Bible and understand nothing if you ain't a child of Israel. You ain't going to open up this Bible and understand anything unless you was sent. Like Romans chapter 10 said. You're not just going to open up the Bible and understand. He say, and he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time. I'm going to read that again. He said, this is Daniel 12 and 9. Go your way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. So he wasn't going to open up the understanding to this book until the time of the end. That means the prophets was going to stand up in the time of the end. That prophets was going to bring out the secrets of this book in the time of the end. The prophets was going to identify the so-called white men. The prophets was going to identify the descendants of slaves. The prophets was going to open up the book. Because verse 9 it say, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. Verse 10, many shall be purified and made white. See, only the prophets are white people. They are the only white peoples on the earth. Ain't no white peoples on the earth but the prophets. Because white means pure. White means clean. It say, many shall be purified and made white and tried. But the wicked, talking about the so-called white man and every other nation that's not a descendant of slave or Israelite, it says, but the wicked shall do wickedly. That's why they say in their Christian church, oh, God done did away with the law. God done did away with the law. The law is done away with. He done got rid of the nation of Israel. They sinned and killed the Messiah. And he don't deal, you gotta have to do none of them laws. That's the Old Testament. You see? Only a wicked person would say that. It says, many shall be perfect. But the wicked shall do wickedly. And let's see who this wicked is, because see, I don't want to let that one go. Let's see who this wicked is. You say the wicked shall do wickedly. Who is the wicked? Malachi chapter 1, verse 1. No, Malachi chapter 1, verse 2. It say, I have loved you, says the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein has you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? And says the Lord, yet I love Jacob. Verse 3, and I have hated Esau, and laid his mountains waste and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Verse 4, whereas Edom says, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus says the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them, talking about the Edomites, the border of wickedness. You see, that's who the wicked is. The wicked shall do wickedly. That's the nation of Edom. The nation of Edom shall do wickedly and say the laws are done away with. The Old Testament is done away with. The Israelites is done away with. The prophets is done away with. Oh, They don't have any prophets anymore. Prophets don't exist anymore. It's all about your Christian pastor. See, that's what the wicked Edomites will tell you. The wicked Edomites is going to do wickedly. Let's go back to Daniel. It's saying the wicked shall do, this is Daniel chapter 12 verse 10. And the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. But the wise shall understand. What was I saying in the beginning? A good understanding is all they that do his commandments. If you was an Edomite, you gonna tell the world you don't have to do no commandment. You do whatever you want to do. All you got to do is come give us some money. See, that's his God. Gold, oil, and drugs. That's the God of the so-called white man. Gold, oil, and drugs. G-O-D. He don't care about nothing else. His dollar is based on gold. His dollar is based on oil. His dollar is based on drugs. See? You take the drugs out, the stock market will drop. The stock market will fall. Soon as the drugs disappear, the pharmaceutical companies, you take them out, the stock market will drop because that's their God. But none of the wicked, none of the Edomites is going to understand. And if they look like a so-called white man, and they understand, they seed line probably go back to a so-called black man who is an Israelite. He might have been a so-called Mexican, Puerto Rican, South American, had light skin and straight hair and got with a white woman, and now the child come out looking totally white. You see? And he have a child by another white woman, and that child come out looking more white. So-called white, because these peoples are red. Edom means red, and the so-called white peoples, they called white because they don't got no color in their skin. You can see their blood through their skin, and the blood is red. Sometimes the blood look blue, but the most time the blood is red. When it come out of your body, it's red. So that's what's going on with the wicked. That's why it's no truth. Let's get that in Hosea. I'm right here in Hosea. Hosea chapter 4. It say, hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel. For the Lord have an controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. See, the land is the land of Esau, the land of the Edomites. That's why there's no knowledge. That's why there's no truth, because all they do is lie. See, let me get that in King David pinpointed these Edomites. Psalm 52. King David pinpointed exactly what these Edomites would be doing. Psalm 52. Where we at? It say, the Psalm of David, when Dogig the Edomite came and told Saul and said unto him, David is come to the house of Ammon. So he pretty much said, this, I'm writing this when this dragon, this Edomite, went and told Saul where I was at. See, because David was on the run, he running from Saul. See, but then the so-called white man come up and say, David over there, he's over there at what's the name house. See, so this is what David wrote. Psalm 52 verse 2, he say, the tongue devises mischief. He say, the tongue devises mischief like a sharp razor working deceitfully. Verse 3, thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Let me read that again. Psalm 52:3. He said, thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. See, the so-called white man, he love lying. See, that ain't something he just doing because he got to do it out of necessity. He love to lie. That's why we call him a devil, because he always lying, and he love to do it. You see, if you ask anybody walking on the earth, do you know a lie that the so-called white man told? They can tell you probably 10 real quick off the top of their head. The so-called white man say he came and discovered America. We know that's a lie. You ain't discovered nothing. You ain't even discovered a bathtub where you can wash your behind. See, when we was ruling in Europe, before they took over, we had to show them how to wash their narrow behind. You got women on the computer now talking about, what's a rag? I don't use a rag when I take a bath. See, they're the same base men. Let me get that in Job, because King David just told them what the business was. But see, mind you, Job was living in the land of the Edomites. He was living around a whole bunch of so-called white people, and he was a dark, chocolate black man. Let's get that first. Job 30:30. It say, my skin is black upon me, and my bones are burnt with heat. So Job was a black, dark, so-called black, and nobody's black. He was a dark brown black, so-called black man. Dark brown, so-called black man from the tribe of Levi. He was a priest. But look what he said about these dang red dragon Edomites, the so-called white man. Job chapter 30. He say, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to set with the dogs of my flock. See, the reason they want to let these dragons go out there with their dogs is because who in the world is dealing with bestiality? There's only one group of people that deals with bestiality. These other nations ain't really messing with that bestiality. But here in America, it's legal for you to marry your darn animal in all 51, 2, whatever states. You can marry your dog, you can marry your goat, you can marry your chicken. See, because that's why Job said that. Because God was gonna make it evident that you won't see nobody else but these Edomites messing with animals. Now I'm gonna get right to the point. Starting at verse 5, he say, they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. See, that's why in Obadiah, when the whole book of Obadiah is dedicated to them, the whole book of Habakkuk is dedicated to them, the so-called white man, the Edomites. And what does Obadiah say about them in thievery? Let's get that. What is said about these dragons? Because it talks about thievery in Obadiah. In Job 30, it say they ran them out from amongst the men. They ran them out of the population of people. Why did they run the so-called white man out of there for being a thief? Look what he say in Obadiah chapter 5. He say, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art you cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are the hidden things sought up? See, that's how you know he ain't gonna be able to hide himself, because we know who the thief is on the earth. We know who robbing everybody. See? We know who military is invading everybody's country. See? It's clear evidence. You can go into Google right now and put in who doing the invade, what country, what military is invading other people's countries, and you know America's gonna be number one. There's no other people on earth invading somebody's country, stealing all their resources. But the so-called white man. Let's go back to Job 30. It say, they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. Here go another sign. Verse 6. He say, to dwell in the clefts of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Now, hold on, wait a minute. They was in the clefts of the rocks? That's where the so-called white man was at, the clefts of the rocks? Hold on, let's go back to Obadiah. Who is in the clefts of the rocks? This say concerning Edom, verse 3. The pride of your heart have deceived you, you that dwell in the clefts of the rocks. See, that lets you see the Edomite is the one that be in the rock. Who is the original caveman? Who is the original Neanderthal? Who live in the Netherlands? It's not a bunch of Negroes or Chinamen or Indians or Arabs or Hamites over there. It's the caveman. Captain Caveman. See, that's who these people are. Now, verse 8 in Job 30 and 8. They were children of fools. Yeah, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Now, see, when it comes to disease, when it comes to money, people understand inheritance. They understand what you inherit. But see, when it comes to personality, when it comes to personality traits, they want to say, we don't know about that. 60%, I think it's like 60%. But no, it ain't no 60%. If your daddy was an Edomite, you gonna be an Edomite. You came from base men. See, you ain't no different than your daddy. Your daddy was a liar, you a liar. Just like the peoples in 1776 who came over here and was lying to the Native Americans. Let's get that in Psalms. Psalms 55. See, this, the traits, the personality traits is identical to the Edomite. That's how we know without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called white man is from the nation of Edom. Let's see here. 55, Psalms 55, starting at verse 20. It say, he hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. See, the Native Americans was at peace with these dragons. The Native American was trying to help them survive the winter. It says, Psalm 55 and 20, he hath put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He hath